Good morning and a happy Sabbath to you, my friends, wherever you are in the world. I pray God is being good to you. He is being good to me and my family. And my prayer is He is to you too. Straight from the bat, my friends, let me ask us to subscribe to my YouTube channel. As you can see, the logo right up here, Baamaka and Makiana Broadcasting. If you look for that, you will find us. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel and let us share the word with our friends. Let us just click the share, comment even if you like, and even the like button as well. It just reminds me and tells me that we are working together in this journey. Now, this is my third take for the day, for this morning. But I hope this time it's going to run. So we are reading Proverbs chapter 14, as we did last week. Last week we read verse 1 to verse 3. Today I'm reading verse 7 to verse 9. And the title is simply, Distance Yourself from Fools. Distance yourself from fools. And I suggest to us, to be able to do that, you have, number one, to know what a fool is. Number two, you have to be able to identify the characteristics of a fool. Well, you may well find that sometimes we associate with people without having thought about these questions. And I am sure, I'd like to believe, I am sure none of us wants to be identified or to be associated with fools. Now, I'm not putting anybody down by using that word. I know it's an old-fashioned word, but it actually is a word in the Bible. And because it's in the Bible, we read the Bible as it is. You know, I believe in the Bible and Bible alone. And so we will find what is it that Solomon is talking about when he talks about the ancient words of wisdom. So, verse 7 reads this way. I'm going to read it. Verse 7, it says, "Stay away from fools, for you won't find knowledge on their lips." And let's understand first characteristic of a fool here according to Solomon. He says, here is the reason why you want to stay away from a fool. Number one, it is simply because in them you will not find anything worthwhile. In other words, he says, you will not find from their lips any knowledge whatsoever. There are people who are frivolous, people who are superficial, people who, when they speak, you just cringe. Maybe, if you do an assessment of your own friends, of your own, those you associate with, acquaintances, think for a minute. Go through a list of each one of them. Are they wise? Are they fools? Is there anything that builds up that comes from them? Or it is all not so good stuff? So Solomon says, stay away from a fool, number one, simply because from their lips there is no knowledge. Now, I want you to understand, when we're talking about the lips, we're really talking about the words that come out of somebody. There are people that when they speak, everything they speak is so vile, so vitriol, so disgusting. Well, you may well be one of those people that do that. My friends, should you be associated or should you be called a fool yourself? How about we try and clean up some of the things that we think about, some of the things that we actually speak about? So Solomon is simply saying the problem with a fool is that within themselves, within their hearts, because what we speak comes from within. It comes from having processed in our hearts, having been processed in our heads, and it comes out. So Solomon says, stay away from fools. I want to put it to us, and I believe, especially if you are a parent or even an uncle and aunt, this is the advice you want to give to the young ones. You want to tell them, stay away from the baddies. Stay away from those that don't teach you anything worthwhile. So why don't you, my friend, also take that advice? Look into yourself. Are you staying away from those that are just seeking to destroy? Or maybe you are actually gravitating more and more towards those that don't really have any good intentions whatsoever in life. People who aren't leading you anyway in particular. Here is verse 8. Verse 8 says this. It says, the prudent understand where they are going, But fools deceive themselves. In other words, fools are directionless. They don't actually know where they are going. They are just going. But where? Who knows? My friends, do you know in this life, there are people who are just following others. They are not sure where we are going, but we are going anyhow. We don't pause sometimes to think, is this where really I want to go with my life? Or I am just taking, I'm just getting blown by the same wind. Am I just going there because of peer pressure? Some of us have found ourselves in precarious situations, not because we wanted to, but because we took our advice from fools. A fool is the one who does that which we all know is ungodly, which we know is immoral, which we know is not ethical, which we know would be considered bad. But there are so many of us, I hesitate to say, who really find ourselves associating with those groups, who find ourselves following those people. What for? I do not know, but we do. And so why I speak to us this morning is, my friend, to encourage us to stop. You know, this life is for you. It is made and meant for you and you alone. And therefore, my friends, I want to put it to you that you have to pause and think about your life. If it goes down south, you go with it. You don't go with your friends. You don't go with your family. If it goes way up north and is going so well, again, you go with it and you go it with yourself. Build yourself up, my friends, not by following fools, but by actually socially distancing from those that appear to be foolish. It doesn't take long to know a fool. You just have to stand there and listen to their first two words. You will know there's foolishness coming out of this one. So Solomon says, wisdom is to stay away, stay clear of fools, but to know, to have knowledge of God. Verse 9, he says, here's the problem with fools. Fools make fun of guilt, but the godly acknowledge it and seek reconciliation. I want you to watch what he's saying. He says the fools, they make fun of guilt. By that is, they make fun of sin. It's true, my friends, as I speak, as God lives today, there are people who find it funny to do that which is sinful. There are people who think that it's so great to do that which is ungodly. There are people who think that it's okay for them to do things that are immoral. In fact, there are people who sit to connive, to organize, to plan, to do that which is evil. And we know that we are living in a society that's so broken that some young people are drawn into these lifestyles, not because they want to, but because somebody says to them, this is the way. But here, my friend, Solomon appeals to you and to me. I'm taking this message too. Stay away from fools. Distance yourself from those that have nothing at all to add to your life. Maybe by so doing, you reduce even some of the mental health distresses that we have. Because we get so caught up in the lives of people who just find it funny to do bad. You know, sometimes I like to watch on YouTube and I see people that are taken to courts for whatever crimes that they've done. I see a lot of grown men crying before the judge. Why are they crying? Now it's beginning to dawn on them that I shouldn't have been following fools. Now they are told by the judge, you are now going down for the next 5 to 10 years, and they break down. Why? Because they realize I was in the company of fools. My friend, you don't have to wait until it gets to that point. Why should you take advice about your relationship from people who are fools? There are people whose homes have broken down because it was a fool next door who tells them, why don't you leave him? Why don't you leave her? That's foolishness, my friends. Why don't you take your advice from those that seek to build you? There are loads of people in this world who are so keen just to encourage, who just want to make sure we all are moving forward. We are all having the best life that we can have. But truth of the matter is, there are also those who are just seeking to destroy. They have nothing good to say. You may well be doing so well, trying so hard to make your life as great as it can be. But you know, you have that friend who thinks it's a waste of time. That's a fool. A young person, if you're listening to me this morning, I want to put it to you. There are people you really have to cancel. You know, we talk of the cancel culture. There are people in your life you just have to cancel. Why? Because they do not have the right intentions by you. And they don't really want to see you making it in life. You have great potential. You have family that loves you. Why not pay attention and be diligent in listening to your mother and to your father? Or listening to your uncle or aunt, grandma or grandfather. There are people who really want to see you making it in life, but somehow, young people, you are being drawn, peer pressured by those that are directionless. My prayer is this, not just for young people, but for older people too. Some of us, there are people we have to cancel in our lives. You know for sure that when you start drinking, this thing doesn't do good for you and for your household. But somehow you're doing it because the boys want you to do it. You know yourself that sometimes you're getting caught up in a lifestyle that's not really you, but somehow you think that's the only way of you being acceptable. But my friends, you want to be acceptable by fools when you do so. So my friend, I just wanted to share with us this morning that we can stay away from fools. In fact, distance yourself from fools. You should be able to see a fool from a mile away. You see how they walk. You see how they speak. You know exactly where they're going to come from, what they're going to say before they even speak. Run for dear life. This life is yours and yours alone. Now, wisdom is this. Wisdom is seeking God. Wisdom is putting yourself in the direction that has understanding in it. It is seeking the knowledge of God. Wisdom is recognizing that this life is passing. It is fleeting. But do you want it just pass without having made an impact? Maybe not in the whole world, but in your own homes, in your own life. What impact have you made in your own life? Pause and reflect. My friends, thank you very much for being patient, for listening, and I pray that you will be able to share with somebody else this video. If you're a parent, take time even to listen with your children. Maybe take time to share it even with the one who happens to be a fool in your circles. They may well be helped. I lived my foolish life. But now, my friends, I know that this life, I make it. With God helping me, life indeed is what you and I make of it. So God bless you today. Have a great and wonderful day today, whatsoever you choose to do. Until we speak again.